Alright, Forest faithful, buckle up, because what I'm about to tell you will absolutely blow your mind. We're talking about the most dramatic week in recent memory at the City Ground, and I promise you by the end of this video, you'll understand why everything hangs in the balance right now. 5 massive stories have emerged in the last 48 hours that paint a picture of a club teetering on the edge of something extraordinary or something catastrophic. There's a French winger worth 33 million that we're desperately chasing, but the numbers being thrown about, they're mental. Then there's the managerial situation that's got legends of the game making predictions that'll chill you to the bone. But that's just scratching the surface, isn't it? We've got Sky Sports dropping bombshells about our gaffer's immediate future, an Argentine World Cup winner who's caught our eye but doesn't fancy a move to Trent's side, and a Spanish fullback saga that's now got South American giants trying to gazump us with pocket change offers. Here's the question that's keeping me awake at night. Are we witnessing Forest's most ambitious transfer window ever? Or are we about to watch everything we've built come crashing down because of internal politics and failed negotiations? Because what's happening right now behind the scenes is unlike anything we've seen before. The clock's ticking toward Monday's transfer deadline, but there's so much more at stake than just player signings. We're talking about the very soul of this football club, relationships that are fracturing, and decisions that could define our next decade in the Premier League. Before we dive into this absolute chaos, I need you to smash that like button and tell me in the comments, what would success look like for you by Monday night? Because after what you're about to hear, your expectations might completely change. The first revelation involves a player that John Percy himself is reporting on. And when Percy speaks about Forest transfers, you listen. We're talking about a French magician who's been tearing up League One, but the fee involved, it's eye-watering. And there's competition we never saw coming. There's this French winger who's been lighting up Strasbourg. A player so electric, so dynamic, that he's caught the attention of clubs across Europe. But what's happened in the last 24 hours regarding his potential move to the City Ground? It's absolutely mental. I'm talking about Delane Bakwa. And Forest are pushing harder than they've ever pushed for any signing this summer. According to John Percy, and when Percy reports on Forest transfers, you know it's serious business. We've submitted a bid of around $27 million, including add-ons for this 23-year-old sensation. But here's the kicker that'll wind you right up. Strasbourg have knocked us back and slapped a $33 million valuation on their star man. Now let me paint the picture of what we're chasing here. Last season, under Liam Rosenio, Bakwa scored 6 goals and provided 9 assists in League One. 9 assists! That's more than Ousmane Dembele managed, and we're talking about a player who's in contention for the Ballon d'Or after winning the Champions League with PSG. This isn't just any ordinary winger we're after. Bakwa's left-footed, he's got serious pace, and his physical presence would give us something completely different from what we currently have. Imagine him on that right flank, cutting inside, creating chaos for Premier League defenses week in, week out. But here's where it gets interesting. Leeds United and Sunderland are both still sniffing around trying to hijack our move. The cheek of it. Here we are, an established Premier League club offering serious money, and these championship sides think they can compete with us? The timing couldn't be more crucial either. With everything that's going on behind the scenes with Nuno's future, landing a marquee signing like Bakwa could be exactly what's needed to show the manager that the club's serious about backing him. It's a statement of intent that goes beyond just strengthening the squad. Think about our attacking options if we pull this off. Omari Hutchinson and Bakwa on the right, Dan Ndoye and Callum Hudson-Odoi on the left. That's depth we've never had before. That's the kind of squad rotation that could see us genuinely competing on multiple fronts this season. But 33 million? That's serious money for a player from League One. Sure, we should have won. It would smash our transfer record and show everyone that Forest mean business in this market. The question is, are we willing to go that extra 6 million to get our man, or will we let another target slip through our fingers? What's your take on this then? Is Bakwa worth breaking the bank for, or should we be looking at more affordable options? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this negotiation is entering its final phase, and every hour counts. But if you think big money moves are the only thing on everyone's minds this week, Wait until you hear what two Premier League legends are predicting about our manager's future. Now, this next story will have every Forest fan's blood running cold, because when legends of the game start making predictions about your club, you know the situation's reached a whole different level of seriousness. We're talking about the managerial uncertainty that's been hanging over the City ground like a dark cloud. And now two of the biggest names in football have delivered their verdict on what's gonna happen next. Gary Lineker and Alan Shearer. And their prediction about Nuno's future will absolutely chill you to the bone. On their podcast, these two didn't pull any punches when discussing our gaffer's situation. Lineker came straight out with it. The first bad run they have Alan. The first bad run they have, I fear, for Nuno. On Shearer's response? Yeah, well, that's the battle he's never going to win, unfortunately. Let that sink in for a moment. Two men who've seen everything football has to offer, who understand the brutal realities of this game better than almost anyone, and they're essentially writing Nuno's obituary before he's even had a proper chance to fail. But here's what really gets under my skin about their analysis. Lineker then wondered whether Nuno even wants to win this battle, suggesting our manager might be deliberately forcing the issue. And Shearer's conclusion? It doesn't end well for the coach or the manager when that happens. These aren't just casual observers throwing opinions around. Lineker and Shearer have connections throughout football. They understand how these power struggles play out, and their prediction is based on years of watching similar situations unfold. Remember what happened after the Crystal Palace match. Forest fans were chanting Nuno's name, showing him the love and support he deserves. But according to these legends, none of that matters when the first poor run comes along. And in the Premier League, bad runs come for everyone eventually. The most damning part of their analysis is the inevitability of it all. They're not talking about if Nuno gets sacked, they're talking about when. The moment results go against us, the moment we hit a rough patch, they reckon the axe will fall regardless of everything he's achieved at this club. What makes this even more frustrating is Nuno's own response when asked if he's confident about staying. I cannot answer that question, he said. A manager who's kept us in the Premier League, who started this season with 4 points from 6 available, and he can't even guarantee his own job security. The international break after West Ham is looming, and both Lineker and Shearer seem to think that's when decisions will be made. 2 weeks for relationships to be repaired or completely destroyed. 2 weeks for our entire future direction to be determined. Here's what I want to know from you lot. Do you think Lineker and Shearer are right? Is Nuno fighting a losing battle, or can he turn this situation around and prove the doubters wrong? Because their predictions suggest we're all just waiting for the inevitable. Let me know in the comments what you make of this analysis, because if two of football's biggest legends are this pessimistic about our situation, maybe we should all be more worried than we thought. But speaking of the managerial situation, Sky Sports have just dropped their own bombshell about what's really happening behind the scenes right now. Right, this next update from Sky Sports will have you questioning everything you thought you knew about our manager's situation. Because while everyone's been speculating about imminent sackings and dramatic departures, the reality might be very different from what we've all been led to believe. There's been a development in the last 24 hours that changes the entire narrative around our gaffer's future. And what Sky Sports are reporting will either give you hope or leave you even more confused than before. And Sky Sports have revealed that Nuno's job appears to be safe for the time being. But here's the twist that'll do your head in completely. According to their sources, there's no imminent sign of Evangelos Marinakis wanting to axe Nuno despite all the drama that's been unfolding. The owner apparently has a little more breathing space to assess the situation, thanks to having a full week without a fixture before West Ham visit on Sunday. But here's where it gets complicated. While Nuno might be safe in the short term, his long-term future is still hanging by a thread. We're talking about a situation where our manager isn't in immediate danger of the sack, but could still be gone within weeks depending on how things develop. The rift with Edu remains the elephant in the room, doesn't it? Sky Sports confirm it's the global head of football who's the main source of Nuno's grievances, not necessarily Marinakis himself. That suggests there might still be a way back if the owner can mediate between the two and find some common ground. What's mental about this whole situation is the timing. Nuno made it clear after the Palace match that he wants clear-the-air talks with both Marinakis and Edu, but apparently no meeting has been scheduled yet. How can you resolve a crisis if the key players won't even sit down together? Sky Sports reckon the international break in September could prove crucial in determining what happens next. That's 2 weeks after the West Ham match where everything could be decided. 2 weeks where relationships could be rebuilt or destroyed completely. The Portuguese made his position crystal clear after Sunday's draw. He dismissed suggestions he's trying to engineer his own exit as absurd and stated his desire to remain at Forest. But when asked if he expected to still be in charge after Monday's transfer deadline, his response was telling. I cannot answer that question. That uncertainty is what's killing us as supporters, isn't it? We've got a manager who wants to stay, an owner who apparently doesn't want to sack him immediately, but a situation so toxic that nobody can guarantee what happens next. Here's what's doing my head in. If Nuno's job is relatively safe for now, why all the drama? Why the public statements about deteriorating relationships? Why the constant speculation about replacements like Ange Postecoglou, Brendan Rodgers, and Jose Mourinho? The answer seems to be that while Nuno might survive this immediate crisis, the underlying problems haven't been resolved. It's like putting a plaster over a massive wound and hoping it heals itself. What do you reckon then? Does this Sky Sports update give you confidence that Nuno can weather the storm, or does it feel like we're just delaying the inevitable? Let me know in the comments, because this managerial uncertainty is far from over. But while all this drama has been unfolding, our recruitment team have been busy chasing an Argentine World Cup winner who might just solve our defensive problems. Now this story will have you pulling your hair out in frustration, because it perfectly sums up the kind of transfer headaches Forest have been dealing with all summer long. We're talking about a World Cup winner, an Argentina international who's exactly what we need. But getting him to the City Ground, that's proving to be mission impossible. There's this Argentine right back who caught Lionel Messi's eye during the 2022 World Cup. A player who's been a cornerstone of Diego Simeone's Atletico Madrid team. And Forest have opened talks to bring him to the Premier League. I'm talking about Nahuel Molina. And the fact that he's not keen on joining us tells you everything about our current standing in world football. According to The Athletic, we've opened discussions with Atletico Madrid about the financial terms to bring the 27-year-old to England this summer. This isn't some speculative interest. We're talking serious negotiations about a player who's made 136 appearances for one of Europe's elite clubs. Molina's resume is absolutely mental. World Cup winner with Argentina in 2022, regular starter for Simeone's notoriously difficult to please system, and a player who's racked up 20 goal contributions from full-back in his time at the Wanda Metropolitano. This is exactly the kind of quality and experience we need. But here's where it gets absolutely maddening. Fabrizio Romano reports that although talks are continuing between the clubs, Molina would ideally like to stay with Atletico Madrid. The player himself isn't convinced about making the move to Forest, despite everything we can offer him. Think about the timing of this as well. We're desperate for fullback reinforcements, especially with Ola Aina set to disappear to the African Cup of Nations in January. Molina would be the perfect solution. Experienced, proven at the highest level, and capable of stepping straight into our starting 11. The fact that Messi himself praised Molina during that World Cup run should tell you everything about his quality. When the greatest player of all time gives you his endorsement, you know you're dealing with serious talent. But apparently that's not enough to convince him that Forest is the right move. This rejection highlights one of our biggest challenges in the transfer market, doesn't it? We can offer Premier League football, we can offer good wages, we can offer a manager who knows how to get the best out of fullbacks. But we can't offer Champions League football or the prestige that comes with clubs like Atletico Madrid. As an Argentina international, Molina probably wants guaranteed playing time to maintain his place in the national team setup. At Atletico, he's a key player. At Forest, he'd be competing with Aina on potentially incoming signings for that right back spot. But here's what's really frustrating about this situation. We're clearly identifying the right type of players. We're making approaches for quality signings, but we can't get them over the line because of where we are in football's pecking order right now. The Athletics report suggests Forest are fighting a losing battle to get this one completed. We're increasing our attempts to sign fullbacks, but if players of Molina's caliber don't fancy the move, where does that leave us in terms of alternatives? What's your view on this then? Should Forest keep pushing for players who might not really want to come, or should we focus on targets who are genuinely excited about joining our project? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this transfer approach is becoming a recurring theme. But if you think dealing with reluctant Argentine internationals is complicated, wait until you hear the latest update on that Spanish right-back saga that's got Brazilian clubs taking the piss. Right then, this final story perfectly encapsulates everything that's been mental about Forest's transfer window. Because what started as a straightforward pursuit of a Spanish fullback has turned into an absolute circus involving 3 different continents and offers that'll make your head spin. Remember Pablo Maffeo? The Mallorca right back we've been chasing all summer? Well, the latest developments in this saga will have you questioning whether football transfers have completely lost the plot. The Pablo Maffeo situation has taken another bizarre twist, and what's emerged about the competing offers will leave you absolutely speechless. According to Sport Witness, Atlético Mineiro from Brazil have entered the race for Maffeo's signature. But their offer is so insulting it's almost laughable. While Forest have put $6.5 million on the table, including bonuses, the Brazilian club have rocked up with a measly $4 million bid. That's roughly $3.5 million for a player that Mallorca value at $8 million. The absolute cheek of it. Here we are offering serious money, nearly double what Atlético Mineiro are willing to pay, and yet Maffeo's future remains uncertain because Mallorca are still holding out for their full asking price. What makes this even more infuriating is that we know Maffeo's quality. 128 appearances for Mallorca, 4 goals, 13 assists, and praise from Lionel Messi himself. This isn't some punt on an unknown quantity. This is a proven performer who could solve our right-back issues for years to come. The Brazilian interest just shows how mental the modern transfer market has become. A club from South America thinks they can compete with Premier League money by offering pocket change, and somehow they're still being taken seriously in these negotiations. Sport Witness believe that Maffeo's growing dissatisfaction at being frozen out by Mallorca could work in our favor. The Spanish club are looking to bring in Barcelona's 19-year-old Hector Fort as his replacement, which suggests they're ready to cash in, but only for the right price. The delay from Mallorca's hierarchy in giving an official response to any of these offers is what's keeping this whole saga alive. Every day they wait is another day for new complications to emerge, more clubs to enter the fray, and for the asking price to potentially change. Here's what's really doing my head in about this situation. We identified our target months ago. We've made a serious offer that's significantly higher than our competitors, but we still can't get the deal done because of stubborn negotiating tactics and unrealistic valuations. This Maffeo saga represents everything that's been frustrating about Forest's transfer business lately. We are clearly ambitious, we're willing to spend money, but we keep falling just short when it matters most. $6.5 million rejected, $8 million demanded. And meanwhile, Brazilian clubs are taking the piss with offers that wouldn't buy you a decent championship player these days. With Nuno desperately needing reinforcements at full back, with time running out before Monday's deadline, this kind of transfer stalemate is exactly what we can't afford. Every day that passes without resolution is another day closer to starting the season with insufficient depth. But this Maffeo situation also reflects the bigger picture at Forest right now, doesn't it? We're a club caught between ambition and reality, between what we want to achieve and what we can actually deliver. We're competing with clubs from different continents, dealing with inflated valuations, and struggling to close deals even when we're the highest bidders. The question that's haunting me is this: are we witnessing Forest's growing pains as we try to establish ourselves as a serious force in the transfer market? Or are we watching a club that's consistently falling short of its targets because of poor negotiation strategies? What do you reckon? Should Forest just pay Mallorca's $8 million asking price and get Maffeo done? Or walk away and focus on more realistic targets? And how mental is it that we're being outbid by Brazilian clubs offering half what we're willing to pay? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because this transfer window has been unlike anything we've seen before. Looking at the bigger picture, these 5 stories tell us everything about where Nottingham Forest stands right now. We're a club with serious ambitions, willing to spend big money on players like Delaine Bakwa. But we're also a club dealing with managerial uncertainty that legends like Lineker and Shearer think won't end well. We've got Sky Sports telling us Nuno's safe for now, but long-term problems that haven't been resolved. We're chasing World Cup winners like Nahuel Molina, who'd rather stay put than join our project. And we're dealing with transfer sagas like Pablo Maffeo that drag on for weeks without resolution. This isn't just about individual signings anymore. It's about Forest's identity, our standing in world football, and whether we can bridge the gap between our ambitions and our current reality. The next few days before Monday's deadline will define our entire season. If we can land Bakwa, sort out the managerial situation, and add the defensive reinforcements Nuno desperately needs, maybe we're looking at our most successful season in decades. But if these deals fall through, if the internal politics continue to fester, if we end up with another summer of almosts and maybes, then maybe Lineker and Shearer are right about what's coming next. Hit that like button if this breakdown has opened your eyes to just how crucial these next few days are for Forest's future. Drop your predictions in the comments. I want to hear every single theory about how this madness ends. And remember, being a Forest fan means embracing the chaos, riding the emotional roller coaster, and believing that somehow, some way, we'll emerge from this stronger than ever. Until next time, keep the faith. We are Nottingham Forest.